Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
Hi, I'm DK Will, and this is DK Will Talk About It. And you'll see this very familiar picture there on the screen if you're looking at the screen. And it's a meeting that was held years ago, and the people up front there are some very high-ranking bank officials from different international central banks. I believe the guy's head over here, the last one bottom to the left, is the backside head of what is his name? Augustus, the guy from the Bank of International Settlements. Karsten Augustus, or something of that nature. But there's no question we recognize the lady sitting up front there. That's Christine Lagarde, however you want to say it, who was with the International Monetary Fund and then moved over to the European Central Bank. And then there's a bit of an outlier up there in the right corner there. That gentleman there, to the far right above that six, is Brad Garlinghouse. So amongst all these very high-ranking financial industry players, we have one cryptocurrency company represented at the table facing the audience, and that's Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple. That says a lot. That says a lot. So it's not speculation when we think that he's had dealings with any of these particular individuals here. Conversations, plans, strategies, and especially the lady here. We can be rather confident that Brad Garlinghouse, representing Ripple, has had discussions with Christine Lagarde from the European Central Bank. Is that fair? I think that's a fair assessment. I think we can be absolutely certain that Brad Garlinghouse and Christine Lagarde had conversations. And I'm going to show as we go on in this video that that's definitely the case. And about the regulatory concerns that she has, we know that there's a case going on with the SEC where the U.S. is trying to, I guess, establish the regulatory clarity that's needed. However, as Brad Garlinghouse said recently, the rest of the world really doesn't care. And the rest of the world's moving ahead. Now, taking some information from a prior video that I did, in that prior video, sorry for the skip there, I'm still learning. The prior video was World War III XRP is the bomb, but I made a point there. It said many that think the SEC lawsuit does not make sense. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make dollars and cents. That's when the light of truth must be something else, somewhere else, to look for and hopefully find. And as I've made it, I think, eminently clear, I do believe much of this is an orchestrated dance to keep everyone distracted and busy and not revealing the true strategy. And it's a war strategy. And the wars have always been about money. The wars have always been about money. Don't trick yourself to believe anything else. And in the governmental structure, money is power. And therefore, the wars have also been about power over a monetary system. However, while the U.S. is going through this regulatory framework battle with the SEC, or its perceived battle, things are moving forward, folks. And I became aware of some information to show that Christine Lagarde and Brad Garlinghouse working together, they've moved forward pretty well. So let's check some of that out. In this article here, you can see that this article is dated July of 2019. It poses the question, will Ripple and XRP flourish under Lagarde's ECB tenure? The article goes on to read that the world of cryptocurrencies will remember Christine Lagarde as the IMF head that first acknowledged the potential of digital currencies. The lawyer and former French finance minister has in the past said that crypto seeks to anchor trust in technology. I get bones cracking when I sit here too long. However, just like any other banker, Lagarde has expressed some reservations over the disruptive nature of digital currencies. She's a believer in regulation, saying proper regulation of these entities will remain a pillar of trust. And after her move to the ECB, it says she's now headed to Frankfurt for a new appointment as a European central bank head. Ripple fans believe this is another bullish occurrence for XRP. It goes on to say she, however, has openly praised Ripple and Circle. Early in the year in the French FinTech Forum, she warned banks to adapt to new technology or die. Remember that too. Real-time gross settlement payments, and remember, adapt to new technology or die. She warned that the legacy banking systems that they were in danger of not just disruptive change, but self-induced cannibalism. It goes on to say that the Ripple management team has many high-level discussions with Lagarde. We saw the high levels in the beginning, did we not? It is highly probable then that the new European Central Bank head will bring her positive attitude towards Ripple and XRP to the ECB. And if she does, the blockchain startup will be set up for global blockchain payments domination. That's pretty heavyweight stuff. It even mentioned that they caught the eye of the White House. Another critical point to keep in mind, and there's that phrase, real-time gross settlement platform has collaborated with SBI Holdings, the Japanese financial firm. And so this article here shows that Ripple did receive a boost, or is anticipated to have, and did receive a boost with the ECB change in leadership. And it says there's good news in the blockchain industry, especially Ripple, following the leadership change at ECB. Christine Lagarde taking over spells good times for blockchain as a growing and disruptive technology because her tenure is expected to be supportive of the industry, besides being among those top leaders who have openly endorsed blockchain and cryptocurrency. Lagarde is specifically focused on Ripple and its associated products, specifically focused on Ripple and its associated products. And Ripple's objective, it says, is not to compete with SWIFT, which is currently leading the market with over 11,000 banks across the globe using the network. Ripple's global banking head indicates that the platform is aiming to complement the existing rival networks. And so we can see here, dated back all the way since November of 2008, that the ECB launched TIPS, allegedly Ripple instant payment service. Now, after all we've seen, would you take away the allegations and just be happy accepting that when I go forward on this video, we're talking about Ripple technology? It talks about TIPS here. Now, I'm not going to use this highlighter much because you see it turns it red. I'll just use it to bring things out. But it does go on to say that TIPS is a new market infrastructure services, and it goes by an extension of Target 2. Something else to remember, Target 2. And it'll all come together after I wrap this up. But what I'm trying to show is that Ripple and Christine Lagarde have taken advantage of Ripple's instant payment system for real-time gross settlements. And we actually have the beginnings, folks, of a timeline. You can see that this is old because it talks about Ripple's technologies back when Ripple's technologies were called Xcurrent, Xvia, and Xrapid. But things have happened, folks, and things have changed. And that just gives an idea of how long this is being put under play. Well, now there's a release of information from the European Central Bank that the playing is over and time is running out. I'm having a little trouble making the camera with that little cameo up top work with the screen and timing and everything. I'll show up and show out. I'll come and go, but what matters here is you can see here there's the European Central Bank's website, Target Services. Now keep in mind we just talked about Target 2 and TIPS, and here's TS2. And this is operational status information on those items, but I just wanted to show you the Target Services as they are on the European Central Bank's website. And you can see here it offers a number of services. These financial market infrastructure services include Target 2, we just saw that, for settling payments. T2S for settling securities, and TIPS, a service for instant payments. And then it talks about ECMS, a service for collateral management. All of them settle in central bank money. Now those are all working together. But what this video is about is how we are on a timeline, like I mentioned before, where those items working together are going to combine, and the timeline is already established. So if we go to this document here, it's a European Central Bank Eurosystem decision of the European Central Bank, April of 2022, conditions about target ECB. Now, without going all deep into the fluff, and I'm gonna leave a link for this for anyone who's interested in looking into it. But you can see here it talks about the Trans-European Automated Real-Time Gross Settlement Express Transfer Service, transfer system, Target 2. You can see it talks about that they approved the T2 and the T2S for the securities. And it talked about how the objective of which is to consolidate, like I mentioned, Target 2 and Target 2S, which is the securities platform. But here's what matters, folks, and the reason for this video. And when you read this information, I don't want you to trick yourself to believe that this has nothing to do with Ripple. I think I've shown enough foundation that it does. But it makes it quite clear from 21 November of 2022, Target 2 will be replaced by Target. No question whatsoever. It is, as in the case of those, they are legally structured as a multiplicity of payment systems. Target component systems are harmonized to the greatest extent possible. And then it goes into a whole bunch of acronyms, but in those acronyms it talks about it provides central liquidity management services. It includes settlement of central bank operations through main cash accounts, large volume real-time gross settlement for payments through the RTS dedicated cash accounts, another acronym, DCAs, MCAs, and then cash payment in relation to securities through T2S dedicated accounts, and those are T2S DCAs. And it goes on and on and on talking about those types of items. Once you get it all said and done and all legalized and wrapped up, it was done at Frankfurt, and it was signed by the president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde. What are some other components of this? Well, it talks about the special terms and conditions for main cash accounts and opening main cash accounts, some of the acronyms that we talked about earlier. It goes on, I'm looking to 25, I think, is the page I'm looking for. Processing of cash transfer orders. It says here that they will settle immediately. Can you think of a platform, a financial technology that can settle, not send ISO 2022 messages, but settle immediately? Can you think of one? I can only think of one or two, and they both start with an X. Am I correct? So, as we go through this, it talks about the different types of accounts that are expected, and the point being primarily that as you go through this document, and this document is 104 pages of document, and the last, I guess, 20 or 30 are just definitions, but this document not only talks about the processes and the formalization of all these items. Do you think for 1 minute that back when Christine Lagarde was meeting with Brad Garlinghouse, they weren't putting this together ever since 2018? And now that they've put it together since 2018, like I mentioned, folks, we have a timeline. We have a timeline. And she also made the point about cannibalizing, if people don't get on board. Let me pause here and go find that, and then I'm going to try to wrap this up, because that cannibalism is really about, get on board or die. And here on number 10, just to take away any doubt, it says here, in order to ensure effective implementation of the guideline, ECB blah blah, this decision shall enter into force without delay. And then it goes further on to say, The ECB may only accept the following customers and may act on their behalf: central banks, European organizations, international organizations, and central governments of member states or public entities designated by such central governments, pursuant to an ad hoc decision of the governing council. So it's get on and play or not, and this entry into force and binding nature says these conditions become effective from 21 November of 2022. That's a month from now, people. And by requesting to participate in target ECB, applicant participants automatically agree to these conditions between themselves and in relation to the ECB. Now keep in mind, this is not just about the European Central Bank changing its system. It's about who's going to be behind that system with 11,000 banks. It says here, in order to become a participant in Target, an eligible entity, as described in Article 4, shall fulfill the following requirements: install, manage, operate, monitor, and ensure the security of the necessary IT, information technology infrastructure, to connect to Target. Shall I read that differently? To connect to on-demand liquidity and the XRPL ledger. Can I say it that way? And be able to submit cash transfer orders to it. So folks, remember that demographic, that the schematic I showed in the past, and I'm sure you've seen it on other YouTube presentations as well. But take a look at this. Yeah, I'm back again. Yeah, take a look at this, because I know you've seen it before. I've shown it to you. But you can see the timeline up top here. Let me get my pointer going. See this timeline up here, 2022. Our year here. Let's go to the UK over here in Europe. Go live in 2022. Right there, folks. Now there's a more detailed one that says Big Bang in November of 2022. So things are happening according to plan and behind the scenes. And like I've said many times, a lot of the other stuff to me is it's a bunch of distractions. It's stuff that suck you in. What matters? What matters is this baby's getting ready to fly. And you'll notice the US is not too far behind, right? And I did get some information about the US employing some of this technology as well. It's not a subject of this video, and this video is getting a little longer than I want it to be. However, we can see that things are going on and things are going to blow up, and a lot of money is getting ready to be moved by Ripple, which would involve also XRP, beginning very soon with the European Central Bank. To give you an idea of how much money is going to be moving around, I'm going to show you another portion of that document, but I'm also going to help ask you to use your line of reasoning about who it is who is going to be doing this based on the fees that are associated with moving different levels of sums of money. But pay attention to also the sums of money that will be moving. Let me pull that up next. For instance, here is the fee schedule. And as you go through the fee schedule for different types of acronym accounts, you'll see here's a fee of 80 cents, I guess, 0.8 of a euro. Keeping in mind that they're heading closer and closer to parity. But as we go further on to the fee schedule, you can see the monthly volume of payment orders, the transaction fee per payment. You can see it's really chump change. Now, if you're a small player, you're going to pay more. But if you're the central banks that we already saw as the customers, you can see you're going to pay a heck of a lot less. Now, the fee schedule continues to go on. Look at this. What? Are you seeing what I'm seeing, folks? Liquidity transfer orders 0.14 euro. Interbalance movements, 0.09 euro. Queries, reports, less than a penny. Transmissions, 12 cents. Queries, fee per TS securities, whatever, TS2 securities, remember, basically nothing. Auto collateralization, nothing. Now, collateralization brings AMP to mind, but that's a different topic. But this is what I'm looking for right here. Settled instant payment order, 0.002 of a euro. A euro is not too far from a dollar bill. So we're still thinking a quarter of a penny. Do you know of anyone who can perform these type of tasks for that type of price, except for XRP? I don't. Settled instant payment orders, 0.002. And it makes me think of David Schwartz, Joe Katz mentioned something about you have until November 4th, I think, to figure something out. Well, folks, looks like the banks have until November 21st to figure something out. And I got a clip from another person's video. I'm gonna talk about it now, and if I can show it without getting beat up or dinged by YouTube, I'm gonna show it. But think of these fees, and then think of this video, which is relatively dated, but still relevant.
They're a legitimate company. They don't pretend to be something they're not, and they're really good at one thing: moving money fast and cheap. And it's fantastic. It fills a big need. And for a hedge fund like us to be able to denominate in Ripple and XRP, I just did the same thing, is really, really, really good. When we did our first close, we moved north of $50 million into the company in Ripple, in XRP, in like 2 seconds, and it cost 30 cents. Now, that is amazing. There's no way to do that with fiat or Bitcoin. There's just no way to do it that fast and that cheaply. And so it serves a really useful need for us. And also when our LPs eventually redeem, hopefully never, but when they want some of the money back, we just send it in XRP again, and there's no 3-day wait for international wires or 1-day wait for US wires. We're not paying wire fees and all that. It's just, I don't understand why that's hard to understand.
And I hope it's not hard for us to understand either. And as you can see here with the annual fees, monthly fees that these banks will pay, and this is chump change to them. But he said he moved, what, 15 million, was it? Or 50 million? Notice this says size, euro, and millions per day. In millions per day. So from 0 to $999,990 dollars, just short of $1 billion. And then we start talking billions and billions and billions. What comes after billions? Then trillions. Okay, so that's using, inarguably in my opinion, but arguably if somebody wants to put something out that says I'm wrong, this is talking about moving money via Ripple Technologies, under some other name in some instances, which is normal, and XRP. So, for it to really be effective, David Schwartz said something that we also need to remember. He said it can't be dirt cheap. And both of those things I referenced that Schwartz had said, where he said, tongue-in-cheek, it seems to me you have until November 4th to figure out what the Roku channel is. I don't know what that is. I understand that what this says, though. It can't be dirt cheap. That doesn't make any sense. What did I say about not making any sense, folks? I'll remind you. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make dollars and cents. You think Ripple's in the business of making dollars and cents? I do too. If XRP costs $1, they'd need 1 million XRP, which would cost $1 million. You saw the numbers I just showed you. Millions, billions, trillions. If XRP costs $1 million, they'd need 1 XRP, which would again cost $1 million. Let's not forget, he's been known to say that 1 XRP can be made up of 1 million drops. So if you have 1,000,000 drops in one XRP, and one XRP is worth $1,000,000, theoretically, figuratively, illustratively speaking, well then to get those 2 cents, you're not using very much XRP at all for it to continue to be a viable option over time, going forward, decades in time. So the value of XRP has to go up to handle the load and volume of money it's going to need to handle. And for those among the XRP community who's holding on to XRP, keep holding on. They're going to want it. They're going to need it. We don't know if they're going to force it from us, take it from us, but they're not going to let it go to waste. They're going to get it. And hopefully, when they come and get it, those who have hodled through this nightmare are very nicely rewarded. And maybe that reward is going to begin as we get deeper and deeper into November. Maybe it'll be a November to remember for some. I'm DK Will. This is DK Will Talk About It. I got to give somebody a shout out. Who is this from? Mickle XRP. Okay. You got your shout out. Now it disappeared. They tend to do that. There it is. Once again, I'm DK Will. This is DK Will Talk About It. And I've talked about it. Have a wonderful day.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.